Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope I am audible to those who are watching me online. Because otherwise, I'll not know whether you are able to hear it. So, hello, good afternoon again, good evening. क्या नाम है आपका? शुभम. Okay. Yes, Mukesh. Yes, very good. Audible. Okay. So, as you would be already knowing, we'll be discussing this year's GS4 paper, that is ethics. How, like, have you seen the paper, this year's paper? At least a glance as to, just glance. I'm not saying go through the paper, just glance what kind of questions have come. Have you seen the last year's papers? Mukesh, what about you? Okay, why I'm asking this? Because then you will be able to compare as to what came, what kind of questions were there this time as compared to the previous. But anyway, we will do it. That's, we are here for that only. Okay, so let us see the paper. There would be paper also here. Okay, so this is the GS4 paper. Let's have a glance through it first, then we'll go back to our PPT. Hello, our PPT. Okay, and we'll try to kind of solve, understand, decode the questions that they are asked. Okay, so the first question, see, general comment that I would like to do about this question, this year's question paper is, it is pretty simple than last 2 years. Okay, looking at the case study itself, it will be kind of evident to you. Last year's size of the case study itself was more than double this year's average size of the case. When I say size, I mean the time required for the reading it, decoding it, and obviously addressing all the issues. So considering that, this year's it is better. Anyway, so moral integrity, professional efficiency. Now this is like a repeat of question. The similar question have been asked at least 3 times before in a different way. We'll see it one by one. Now how we have designed it, as you might already know, in ethics, generally apart from the case study, the syllabus is divided into 2. Yes, you know this. Broadly, one is philosophical basics, values and stuff, psychology, and second is public administration, governance and stuff. So the second part will be taken by Abhishek sir. Just after this, I will try to cover those questions which are concerning my part. Okay, so this is the question. So I'll be taking, like, for example, question number 2A, question number 2B, 3, all the quotes, obviously quotes I'll be taking 3 quotes every year, that you would know. You know the structure. Every year there will be 3 quotes and 6 case studies. Okay, any of you have given mains before? No. Then this similar questions every time they ask, like this emotional quotient. Now emotional quotient is basically, what is emotional quotient? Do you know the meaning of the word? IQ you might be heard, right? Intelligent quotient. What is emotional quotient? You might have heard the word emotional intelligence. Yes, where? In the syllabus, in ethics ka syllabus, right? So emotional intelligence, emotional quotient, what's the difference? When the word quotient comes, it's the instrument of measurement. Like you have intelligence, how to measure it? Intelligence quotient. You have emotional intelligence, how to measure it? EQ. Okay, so here EQ has to be taken for the purpose of our paper as EI. No confusion. Okay, we'll see it. So this is the kind of, this first time they have asked something like this. Last year they had asked about Buddha. This time they have asked about Guru Nanak. This also most of you would be knowing, little bit here and there. Okay, and the case studies, as I said, last year's case studies used to be of more than double the size of what it is this year's. Personally, to be very honest, this year's case study, I don't feel very challenged by UPSC, but positive side of it is perhaps people will be getting more marks. But the problem here is because this is a competitive examination, everybody getting more marks is not actually a positive this thing. It's a it's a what we can say, zero sum game kind of, you can say. Everybody is getting higher mark means ultimately competitively those would get better marks. Like for example, last year if 100 is a good score in ethics, this year it will be 120, like that it would be. Yes. Okay. So let's see, one by one questions only will go to, right? So first I will go through the theory part of my this thing, topic of my concern, as I mentioned, philosophical aspect. Okay. First question. First as in mine first, but relevant to me is second question, that is second A. Corruption is the manifestation of failure of core values in the society. Simple. Is anything something that that is difficult to understand? No. Corruption is the manifestation of failure of core values in the society. In your opinion, what measures can be adopted to uplift the core values in the society? What do you think are the measures to uplift the core values in the society? You understood the demand of the question? The demand of the question is, though they have started off with corruption per se, their main intention is core values upliftment in the society. Which part of the syllabus? Chapter 2, human values, inculcation of human values. Yes? Yes, very good. Family can be education institutions, families, media. Yes. When we say generally education, which includes, in fact, if you see, as far as the ethics is concerned, it is very easy to inculcate during the basic education rather than later education. Later education is very difficult. Later education is more of, unless you study ethics the way you are studying now, who all are studying like you are doing your graduation, engineering, mathematics, commerce, whatever, MBBS. Do you really study ethics there as a chapter? Very rarely. We assume that till 10th and 12th you have gone through the basic education, you have a basic sense of the society, you know what is right, what is wrong. See, society also teaches you. Okay, so there are many aspects. The point here is how to write that in the answer is the issue, right? So generally for theory questions, how we go is first introduction, then main body, then conclusion, right? Now introduction, because the question now, though it seems that the second part of the question is completely different, even if there is this first statement is not given, still the answer will be almost the same. Just read, just don't read this, just read this. In your opinion, what are the measures to be adopted to uplift the core values of the society? Do you really think the answer will change much? No. Though there will be some connotation given while writing answer to the corruption. So the question here is simply, when we also say, there is a lot of corruption, and why corruption is there? People say, anyway the government servants are amongst us only. They are not coming from the Mars or Venus. They are from among us. That means among the people, among the society itself is ethicality going down. So if you really want to have a good administration, first let's focus on having better ethical, uplifting the society's core ethical value system. What is this core ethical value? Anything, when we say core ethical value, what are the values we are talking about? Selflessness, others more important than me. others more important than mine. Then it gets expressed into a lot of things: humility, honesty, integrity, compassion, fortitude, kindness, right? So many things we have: transparency, accountability, scientific temper, democracy. Democracy is ethical value, right? Democracy is not just a system of governance. Democracy is a matter of principle. Like, let everybody has their say. Democracy basically means inclusivity. Let everybody has their say. Otherwise, you just decide and others has to follow, then it's not democracy. That means, what do you lack? Dignity. Because dignity means what? Everybody having equal value. Like, as a human, your value, her value, his value is same. By at its core, it's same. That is dignity. Okay, those are anyway the technical things. Point is, how would you write it? First, you write how corruption, what is the context of corruption with respect to the value system. So here you just have to somewhere in introduction mention that corruption in the society, or the corruption in the administration in general and in particular, and society in general, is a direct result or direct manifestation of lowering of core values, or perhaps the what we can say, the strictness or fortitude that the people have with respect to their own ethical values. So their ability to stick to values is going down, or appreciation to ethical values is going down. Okay, that kind of, whatever you understand as the theme, demand of the question would be written in introduction, 2 to 3 lines. Then main body. Now there are so many issues. How to measure? What are the measures to uplift? Education, family system, as you also mentioned, strengthening it, creating role models. What should be role model? Strong core values, and their lives have depicted the selfless behavior. Somebody who has accumulated wealth should not be a role model of the people, whereas somebody has self-sacrificed his or her life for the society should be the role models. Their problem is going on, we know who are becoming role models today. Now when we say role models, what does that mean? Whatever the youngsters blindly follow is role model. Whom are they following? They don't even know who are these Padma awardees, but they know the so-called celebrities. So-called, nothing to mention here, just an extension of that point. So creating that better role models like Abdul Kalam, MS Dhoni. So you have so many people who have good administrators, who have worked selflessly. People don't even know the name. Kalpana Chawla, even those who have contributed to the Chandrayaan-3, the scientists, especially the women scientists that generally people perceive that women are not able to be scientists and all that. So those are the role models. You mentioned that. Then rewards. Rewards means basically rewarding those. Padma. Here I basically mention intend to say the kind of awards it is given to the people who, like somebody who's I forgot the name of the person, somebody from Karnataka who used to sell oranges. That I forgot the name of that person, who by collecting the money from that job, he actually built a school in his area. He got last year he got Padma Shri from Government of India. So or people who are sacrificing their life on the border as a soldiers, they are also big role models. Yes, and also role models from the stories and mythologies. And again, who would be role model? Not somebody who has acquired wealth. Okay, so who should be the role model? Alexander or Gautam Buddha? That's the point. So Alexander the Great? No, is not the great. Buddha the Great. That is the value system we should have. So the difference between the two is, one tried to win over the world people through violence, the other tried to win over his own desires. So obviously the role model should be like that. That's what is expected in the paper also. Then gender equality. To uplift the core value system means first and foremost emergent urgent need is to uplift the gender sensitivity among the people. Ethical governance. The ethical governance means citizen charter and stuff like that. Accountability, transparency, right? So that means in the governance, the activities of the government should be based on ethical value system. Now this is very difficult to do, but we have to do something about. Yes, yes, because government has always been a instrument of not just conducting the activities of the society or changing the society's this thing, but also as the agent of change. Administration works as an agent of change, and people look at the administration also to get there. If like everything is happening, if there is no corruption, okay, why do you think people will get into the corruption otherwise? Because if you see, if only ideally, that's not going to be possible. If government servants decide that will not do any corruption, no corruption is possible. How if they decide, okay, I will not take money, who will give you money then? So who is the biggest responsibility, direct core responsibility of the stopping of the corruption? Government servants. That will come. In between, just I am expanding that issue. वो सब इतना इधर लिखना नहीं है. No need to write everything here. These are the points. Just I am saying you how you can expand that particular one question to different aspects. Ultimately, ethics is all about writing different aspects in the same this thing. You have some question? Yes. Yes, digitalization helps in, now that is very specific to ethical governance. You can write that within ethical governance also you can expand a little bit, but here the question is more about uplifting the core values of the society itself. Digitization certainly will work, but in a different connotation. That is a detailed part of ethical governance. Yes, an example. Yes, a sub point of ethical governance. Then community engagement. There has to be sense of participation, leadership among the people, that they are also part of governance. No, the point here, like for example, democratic spirit, interfaith dialogue. This enhances inclusivity a lot. You need to know the other side, but we don't have that. Scientific temper, we already know. Multiculturalism. What is multiculturalism? Yes, being inclusive to the other, being not just accommodative, inclusive towards other culture. Now when we say culture, what does that mean? The eating habits, the clothing habits, the lifestyle and other stuffs. So you have to be inclusive towards it, means there is something positive about it there. So automatically what happens? The mutual respect enhances, every culture gets their say, things like that. Legal provisions are there anyway, especially with respect to corruption and other things. If you do something wrong, there are legal this thing, like if you gender sensitivity, okay, respect to women. Now if you, obviously that is also core value of the society. Sometimes we need legal this thing for that. People don't just get it's not enough for them just to kind of have preachings. They need some legal action sometimes. We know what I am talking about. So there, that's all. At here, how many? 12 aspects are there. You no need to write these separately, because ultimately it has to be only within 150 words. These are like exhaustive list, what I think is. Yes, as I said, not all 12 points is possible for 150 words. Possibly nahi hai. Generally what happens for any after introduction is done, when you write a subheading or anything, like for example measures to uplift the society would be a subheading. After that what happens? You write 5 to 6 points. You cannot write more than that. And in almost almost each point you write some example. Like as I said, multiculturalism, we talk about avoiding ethnic clashes also, like people from northeast coming to the central India, people from North India going to the South India. So there has to be a the system where the others are also welcomed, acceptance of the others culture. For example, I am saying within under the name of multiculturalism, what example would be, right? Okay, and last conclusion, how would you conclude this particular thing? Corruption is the manifestation of, how would you conclude? So for basically upliftment of society's core values requires multifaceted approach, social, economic, political, administrative, many places you have to work, because society is not one thing where you just do something and the core value system will increase. That won't happen. So we need, what do you, is like requires comprehensive approach or multifaceted approach. Just to conclude, yes. Yes. So right from family, education, government, religious bodies, everybody has to play a role for society. That also can be a conclusion. There is other kind of other way of writing conclusion, especially in the type of futuristic, like those societies who have been built on the core values, ethical values, are the most or the most livable, most aspired for societies. वो हम भी देखते हैं. The society जहाँ पे we have places where we have better inclusivity, we have less corruption, okay, we have less environmental pollution. That also aspect could have been part of this. Environmental sensitivity is also core value, and that also get impacted by corruption a lot. That also can be added. Point is, and this should be the case for you when you write any examination, is that you have more points. While writing, you have to crisp it down. That's the best situation. Normally what happens, especially in mains, we don't have enough points. Okay, you don't know how to write, what to write for 10 marks is what generally is the situation for the people. But if you study properly, if you have content, multifacetedness, different aspects, if you consider, the situation will be like you will be having more points than required. Then it's easy to cut it down and go forward. Okay, should we move to the next question? Any doubt in between, you can ask me straight away. No need to, I will not be asking you every time. Next question is 4a. Now, as I already mentioned, this is because rest of the part will be taken by. Okay, this what we were talking about. What really matters for success, character, happiness and lifelong achievement is a defined set of emotional skills. Your EQ, not just purely cognitive abilities that are measured by conventional IQ test. So this is just a statement. Now question is, do you agree with this you? Yes, certainly will. Give reasons in support of your answer. So basically the question is kind of prove or explain or discuss, elaborate that EQ is more important than IQ. More important, not equally important, more important. No, if you see that way, we have to say that it is more important. Why? Because only EQ will not help you, or only IQ will not help you. Only EQ can help you. See, obviously, only EQ doesn't mean zero IQ. I mean, your focus should be on EQ. That's what the question is saying. See, what really matters is what they are saying. What really matters, not IQ. So IQ really doesn't matter. Is that what it's saying? What matters is EQ. That is emotional quotient. Or basically, as I mentioned, syllabus point is EI. What is EI? Emotional intelligence is what the question is talking about. Every year in ethics there will be this question, and mostly the questions connotation will be like this only. Sometimes the connotation will be different. If you go through the previous year questions of ethics, forget about whether you have studied not studied, वो तो ठीक है, like as you study, as you do lectures, most of you might not have done it before, like you're just sitting, I don't know anything about ethics. That might be also the case. But ethics is very interesting thing. Even if you do not study it like that, you still, if you are attentive enough, if you are probing enough, you will be able to write something, because at least that part, the part that I teach, that is philosophical aspect. Now, even if you do not read anywhere anything, the previous question, do you really think that you are not being able to write anything? That will never happen with any other paper, GS1 to 3 and optional. Only it can happen in GS4 and essay. Very good. So that's why generally I say GS4 and essay are like brothers, sisters, whatever gender you want to attach to it, and brother and sister, whatever, right? Or another cousin brother is there with respect to your examination. GS4 ethics, GS4 ethics and essay. There is another cousin brother. Can you guess what I am talking about? That is Durka brother. So that is anyway not part of your merit interview, because interview will be like case studies only. They will be checking your ethicality, they will be checking your ability to solve problems. There they will be checking, they will be asking question in such a way that whether you are aware about the things, are you gender sensitive, do you have any stresses of casteist connotation, everything they will check. And in addition to that, obviously how much you are aware, how much you are patriotic, how much you are optimistic, isn't it? Do you really think being pessimistic would be part of the government, should be the part of the, कुछ नहीं होगा इस देश का, तो फिर क्यों आले system में? We want somebody like कुछ तो होगा इस देश का. All of you understand little bit Hindi at least? No problem, no? Okay. Yes. So define EQ. So you know what is EQ? It's a measure of emotional intelligence, measure of calculating or evaluating emotional intelligence. Now what is emotional intelligence? What is emotional intelligence? If you because this question has been repeatedly 3 times. What do you think by the term emotional intelligence? What is emotional intelligence? They have asked this. The same question. Your introduction will be exactly the definition of what emotional intelligence is. Yes. Okay. That is a consequence of having emotional intelligence. You are right. See, emotional intelligence is a ability or a skill to understand, manage and regulate one's own emotions and also others' emotions towards the betterment of all. Okay, emotional intelligence. यही लिखना है यहाँ पे भी. So, emotional quotient is a measure of emotional intelligence, which means or which is the ability, or emotional quotient is the measure of evaluating, measure of deciding the ability of one's or ability of one person or one's to able to manage, regulate, control, whatever, know, recognize the emotions of oneself and the others, so that in order to use it for the betterment of all, will be important. That is also important, because just knowing that emotion doesn't work, it's not enough. You should be able to, like for example, I can understand what kind of emotions you are going through, accordingly my behavior should be. Yes, that is emotional intelligence. Second, if I have been put into some situation where I am forced to go through some extreme of emotions, be it anger, be it discouragement, disappointment, anything, happiness also, but as long as the administrator is concerned, as long as your whatever role you might be playing, your decision should be based on rationality, objectivity, long-term benefit of all. So emotional intelligence required, because unless you have emotional intelligence, if you are getting swayed away by emotions, you lose the ability to think critically. That was also one of the questions. Anger, I'll show it to you in the next question, somewhere it is there. So if you are getting swayed by emotions, what happens? Your ability to think rationally, objectively goes away. You're like, I don't want to listen anything, I just want to do this. Doesn't it happen? हम बोलते हैं normally कि गुस्से में कुछ भी कर देना. Now what does this कुछ भी means? It's not up to the mark. कुछ भी कर दिया means not, जैसे बोलते हैं कि सोच समझ के, without thinking enough. So basically what happens? When you're angry, very angry, you lose your ability to be rational. You lose the ability to have critical thinking. And then you will most likely going wrong. That's what should not happen. And especially when, just imagine, just you know this little digression, what happened with Canada and this thing, have you kept a track of it? Now this what Mr. Trudeau did seems to be an example of lack of emotional intelligence. Why? Something happened here at the end of the G20. His plane got technical error, he could not go back, he got stuck for 2 days in India. For PM it's a big thing. Yes, it's a big embarrassment. Yes, we agree. But he responded with a lot of dissent and anger. Because what he did, forget about it is right or wrong. I am not into getting into it. Whether India did it, not, the way it was put forward was very immature. He could have done it in a very polite way, in a subtle way, a diplomatic way. But he did not do it. Don't write these examples, I am just telling you for this, because it's very current. These are not things to be written in the examination. But point here is now, more the powerful situation you are in, okay, more should you be the responsible and more emotionally intelligent you should be. Why? Slightest mistake that he did, now going to be a big problem for whole of Canada economy, whole of relation between Canada, like people from Canada and people from India. A lot of aspirations of students from India going to Canada stopped or disappointed. Lot of people coming back from Canada to India, problem. Lot of investors who wanted to invest in India, problem. Image also gone. And another issue that is happening there perhaps is the Sikhs and non-Sikhs in Canada. There would be some problem. Just imagine one person getting angry and saying something. I am not saying the issue is not there. I say issue बहुत होते रहते हैं ना. You know, ISI also works, FBI also works, Mossad also works, RAW also works, KGB also works. We know these are like big, and China's intelligence agency also must be working. Recently, this fellow got honey trapped. No, our DRDO person. You see in the news, some person properly got honey trapped. Who was in DRDO? I forgot his name. Huh? This happens all the time. Yes. So raw intelligence agency keep doing these things. Raw, ISI, Mossad and all. उसका इतना बड़ा इशू करने का जरूरत नहीं था. और इस तरीके से, because he actually got angry because he got stuck here for 2 days. तो उसके लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं? फ्लाइट वो लेके आए थे. He had got his own flight. He got technical error. We don't know. Somebody did it or we don't know anything. But at least anyway, coming back to the point is, so if you are DM, you cannot be emotionally not intelligent, because one angry decision of yours, some riot is happening. Recently small riot happened for this Maratha reservation in Maharashtra. The DMs, you know, the issue is happening there now. The DM decided to do lathi charge, including on women. And now the Home Minister is saying we never gave the orders. So if it is true, and most likely Home Minister would not have given orders. Why? They know it is politically not a good thing to do. But just imagine, we don't know the reality, but just imagine that what Home Minister is saying is true. That means the officer, IPS or IAS, did that as an impulse from his side. Now how much it costed? People lost lives, lot of issues, big issue, no? He just would have thought maybe they were doing some gimmick there and he got angry. He would have done something. But emotional intelligence nahi hai to it would be big problem. For more the powerful position you are in, more emotional intelligence you should be. Yes. Anyway, that is about emotional intelligence in general. About this question, yes, that is on a subtler level. Yes, like if some group is coming to you, like some women SHGs are coming to you, or tribal group is coming to you, and you may not actually have anything, any knowledge of what they are talking about. But if you are emotionally intelligent, you can grasp, what kind of pain that they are going through. It happens. Most of the time, you have to do it because India is a very diverse country, and Indian people are not robots. Everybody had their own culture. Everybody had their own customs. You cannot just say that no, straight jacketed ऊपर से आया है, I'll just implement it. No, it doesn't work like that, right? Road बना रहा है doesn't mean that you just cut the trees. Now cutting the trees in India is not just an environmental issue. Have you seen Kantara? It's a spiritual issue for many. How can you say that अरे कुछ नहीं होता spiritual? No, you have to be compassionate there. Understand what they are talking about. Understand from where they are coming. It's a real issue what they have shown in whether that is true superstition or not, that's a later debate. Let the scientists and other people. But as an administrator, you should be very compassionate. It's so many people and their whole culture is revolving around that forest. How can you just cut it? Saying that it is for your roads only. They said we don't want roads for now. We'll manage. You have to convince them. No, no, this is, if at all, if it is superstition. This is superstition, this is this, that. Let them. Maybe you only will get convinced. You never know. If that is genuine, because we know religion has its role to play. We are not religiously indifferent country. We can never be, we should never be. We are not secular in a strict sense of the word's meaning. We are actually multicultural society. We are actually pluralistic society, not secular. Secular means government has nothing to do with religion. We are not like that, and thank God we are not like that. Government comes forward, helps people in the religion. Sabrimala, it's the religious stuff. Why government has to poke its nose into whether women should be allowed or not allowed? No, government will come into. Yes, because that's what I said. We are not robots. Many countries in Western this thing, they are all robots. Everybody has same desires: money, education, health, roads, that's all. In our case, it's not the scenario. In fact, government is saying it is secular. Then why you are collecting money from the temples to run your business? If that's the case, let the temple run themselves. No. So we are not secular in that way. Positive way, I am saying. We are giving equal treatment, that is pluralistic, not secularistic. Okay, वो debate अलग है. Anyway, coming back to the again point. So introduction is define what EI and all that is. Then EQ is more crucial than IQ. Why? It helps to navigate social relations. Now here the point is about success, character, happiness. They are not talking about administration here. Personal life, in your personal life, if you want to be successful also, that's what the question is talking about. Is question talking about emotional intelligence most important for an administrator? No, they are not narrowing down to administrator. They are talking about whom? For success, character and happiness, for lifelong achievement. That means individual life, yes, over the period of time. Yes, you are right. Not just administration. Normally question comes administration mein aata hai. Any example you can. In fact, other aspects you have to cover, like helps navigate. Why EQ is more important? It helps navigate social relationship. Because to be better administrator, just an example, need to grasp emotions of public, or to be a better social member, you need to understand the this thing. If you are a business person also, you have to understand the emotions. If you are senior also, you have to understand the emotions of junior. If you are junior also, you have to understand the emotions of the senior, right? Everywhere it is important. Consider multiple perspectives, because human existence is not just rational. You are not just rational person, right? You have emotion also, you have culture also. So doing something for them, you cannot just say that okay, I'll serve your intellect, that's all. No, they have different demands. So your understanding, your perspective should be multiple. Key factors in resilience. So for any being successful, the most important thing is resilience. Resilience is basically Even failure happens, you are there. Even lot of stressful situation, you are there. That is only possible when you are emotionally intelligent. Then link to the better physical health. Now mental health, physical health, emotional intelligence means generally somebody who doesn't get into stress easily. Then if you don't take each and every small thing very seriously, would you get into the stress? No. Stress mein nahi jayenge, so what will happen? You will be at calm. Decisions can be better and your mental health will be better. Right? Better emotion, that's why long term, lifelong achievement. Better emotional intelligence helps better application of critical thinking, that I already told you. Success conclusion now. Here basically lifelong achievements, generally success has been taken. Success means what? What is success? Extraordinary performance in any field is success. Now extraordinary means, see, if you are doing something that everybody is doing, then generally it is not considered success. Yes, so better performance, better than others, better than average. So extraordinary performance in any field contributing to the betterment of the larger public. So inherently depends upon emotion. Just conclusion ek tarike ka. You can write many different way of conclusion. You can write examples also, people who have contributed or achieved the success of that kind have been the people who are of utmost emotional quotient, emotional intelligence. Morality, sacrifice, compassion, selflessness, etc. are result of the better EQ. And unless you have these, you cannot be neither successful nor happy. Mental aspect, happiness means this mental aspect, better emotion, better physical health, better mental management lead to better health. This is the, yes, you are absolutely right. This is always been the rule for any paper of GS. Try to address everything that is being asked to the extent possible. In fact, most of the time these different points are the helping points for us. Otherwise we don't know what to write. Okay, just decode. What are they talking about? Character. What are they talking about? Happiness. Oh, happiness. How happiness is linked with EQ. How cognitive, how lifelong achievement linked to EQ. How success linked to EQ. Your answer is over. I will tell you, if you have enough practiced enough answer writing, you have a better perspective of ethics, and you have then vocabulary and stuff, you will be, again I am telling the same thing, you will be in a situation where you can reduce your answer to the 10 mark. It's actually very tough. Sometimes people think that 150 words ke liye kya likhe. That never is the question if you have studied properly. The only doubt or only problem, only question that will be in front of you is what not to write now, because I have so many things with me. Like this, now if you want to really write answer for this, it will be 20 mark. If you, each and every point if you want to explain, you have to club some points, because it's just these are just pointers. No, if you want to write statements to explain what the point is, it takes a lot of space, right? Next, this was a little technical question. Differentiate moral intuition and moral reasoning with suitable example. What do you understand by these words? Moral intuition and moral reasoning. Now moral intuition is simple, is a kind of, see, both moral means about right and wrong. Moral means right and wrong ka feeling, कि ये गलत है, this is wrong, this is right. But when it is moral intuition, that sense of right and wrong is coming from a instant gut feeling, without any deliberate reasoning behind it. Then it will be called moral intuition. Moral reasoning is when after a lot of thinking, deliberation and reasoning, that is not just rational, it is called deliberate reasoning. Reasoning is not just rationality. They are common because rationality is part of it. So like for example, emotional consideration are not rational considerations, but sometimes you have to think emotionally also. Emotional intelligence means what? You consider, yes, rationality becomes very, what we can say, strict rationality. Reasoning word is very common word where you just contemplate upon basically what would be the consequence if this decision is taken and what would be the consequence if that decision is taken. That is called moral reasoning. जैसे यहाँ पे देखो, जैसे you see somebody fighting on the road or something, the immediate reaction is ये गलत है. We don't know who is who, why somebody is being caught like that. You know, have you seen some movies where the police person is running on the road? ये भी recently एक आया था Family Man. Have you seen Family Man? नहीं देखा है, नहीं. और सरफरोश देखा है? सरफरोश पता भी है? There is something, the movie called सरफरोश. Whose movie सरफरोश? आमिर खान. You know सरफरोश? No. हाँ, साउथ में तो there are many movies. Just imagine which part of the South Indian? Telugu, Tamil? Telugu. So you might have seen Allu Arjun beating, as an army person beating somebody. Now suddenly you see, you are like ये गलत हो रहा है, but you don't know, you may not know the person is actually criminal who had snatched some lady's some chain and running away. For that he just caught hold of him and slapping him. Now who is right? Now really think no, it's bad चीज हो रहा है. And obviously it's not beating mercilessly, beating just to control the person's physical this thing. But suddenly immediate reaction क्या होता है? ये गलत हो रहा है. You know, or somebody like you see some lady beating some small child. Now beating example इसलिए दे रहे हैं क्योंकि that particular thing generally generates a instant reaction in us because violence हमें पसंद नहीं है. But you never know that was for benefit of the person. कुछ उसके that boy would have swallowed something to throw it out. She is beating. We never know, right? Point is, generally there are some things where we have an instant reaction. Most of the time it is true only. Most of the time it is true only. It's not always wrong, but it is not well thought. And sometimes this happens that because of the emotional this thing, emotional cultural bias, like some, you know, generally it happens if you are in office setup, if a lady comes and says complaints about some male colleague, what is your normal tendency? To believe 100% what she is saying. Maybe if she, because there was a case study also like this, no, she comes crying and like that. But somewhere you have to mention, being an officer, you have to ascertain what she is saying is true. Otherwise, how can you take action? Just because she is saying, you will take action. But normally we will do it. That is moral intuition. It's because it depends on your culture, your cultural biases, your social biases, your own biases about things, right? Moral reasoning is putting many aspects of that particular thing in perspective, weighing both the sides, thinking what is right decision to be taken, what might be the consequences of every decision that I am taking or the situation, ethical analysis. What we generally do in case study is moral reasoning. Okay, now you understood the difference? Okay, like moral reasoning, listening to the both side, imagine consequence, etc. Moral intuition versus, no, moral reasoning ka example, any, you know, case study where, like, you know, a situation where a sexual harassment complaint has come into. So you moral reasoning means you listen to both the sides, you decide who was right, who was wrong, it was really a sexual harassment or it was a perceived mistaken, or like mistaken perceiving the scene. We don't know, but kind of having moral reasoning means what is right, what is wrong, what are the consequences of these things, this particular decision is taken. But normally moral intuition is gut feeling. Now conclusion, both are essential in decision making. Moral reasoning is more crucial in public life in general and administration. So for administration, moral reasoning is superior, more to be followed. Yes, as an administrator, can you go with the gut feeling all the time? No. In fact, it is not expected. You think you might be still correct, but still you need to have reason for everything. You cannot say that no, I cannot accept this just like that. But question is about moral intuition and moral reasoning. Inside, because these are, though they are, see, everything is linked, and you feel it is linked because we have just discussed it before. Good that you are able to connect it, but in answer this particular question, see, you need to understand one thing. Through question, I am also discussing a little bit here and there. It's not just question answer I am discussing. I am just discussing what is this point, what are the things that can be written. In addition to that, I am also discussing the other aspects. So it seems that both are connected, but actually, as far as the question is concerned, they are different. Okay, one is about putting reasoning into what is happening, and other is giving intuitive. Now intuitive is emotional response most of the time, that also you are right, because why I am saying, see, there are you able to see this? There was a similar PYQ quote in 2020. Now why similar? I'll tell you. Do you really think, are you able to understand what is written first? A system of morality which is based on relative emotional values is mere an illusion, thoroughly vulgar conception which has nothing sound in it and nothing true. Socrates. ये आया है 2020 में. This is exactly what you are saying. And I am connecting with this because they are saying relative emotional consideration is not morality. मुझे खराब लग रहा है is not morality. There is a dog who is heavily infected by rabies. It is being captured by the MCD and you are seeing it. What is the response in you? ये गलत हो रहा है. Even if you know that the dog is rabies infected. If you are applying moral reasoning, you are still you will be still manage that no, it's okay, but ये होना ही है, इसको कोई option नहीं है. But response क्या है अंदर से? ये गलत हो रहा है. Because our bias is like, bias बोलो या whatever, our cultural training in such a way that any physical violence is wrong. But situation here is the dog has to be saved itself from further pain and other people. Like that, we have this word called, commonsensical word is called misplaced sympathies. Have you heard this word? Misplaced sympathies. This dog issue has been big classical case where this misplaced sympathies issue comes up. You know, in Delhi it has happened a lot. MCD people came, they could not capture the dog because people protested, you know, this is inhuman and all that. And the same dog killed a 3-year-old. Now who is responsibility of that murder? So, and they were not capturing dog for anything else. They were capturing so that it would be vaccinated or something like that. And this is a big issue, by the way. In whole of India, it's big issue is happening now. Kerala also. High courts have given judgment on this. You know this. Dog bites, dog killing and all. Delhi High Court and is Kerala High Court. Noida, this case happened. Yes, it is always important. Moral reasoning is the way. So, moral intuition is generally a response. Generally, it's your own response as a person. But you should not take that response very seriously immediately. That's the point. Anyway, the message is, here the message is like these two are different, that's all. Here the message is, this was the quote in 2020. Here the message is, it is actually not just wrong, it is vulgar conception. Vulgar conception means absolutely devoid of any sense, detrimental. You know, another classic example is, how do you think Dawood Ibrahim's mother would be talking about Dawood Ibrahim? उसने तो आप ही ने कुछ किया होगा इसलिए वो गलत कर रहा है. ये but extreme example I am saying this happens. Emotional this thing, you think that you know, serving emotional needs is ethicality. No, ethicality is based on moral reasoning. And वो ethics के class में हम देखेंगे how it is, मतलब in case how ethics is defined, how Kant defines it. Nobody talks about if you feel bad about it, it is unethical. If you feel good about it is ethical. No, it doesn't work like that. Then you are yet to understand what ethicality is. That's what the context is. Next. Yes. Yes, you can write. Absolutely differentiate hai. You can use table format and write. Yes, absolutely you can do that. Normally it happens, it helps table format, not just in GS, I mean GS4, any other paper. Some people, like for example here I have mentioned table format also can be used. So there also it can be used. Is conscience a more reliable guide when compared to rules, laws and regulations? Basically laws in general, whatever written in the paper, in the context of ethical decision making. सिलेबस का कौन सा पॉइंट है, देखा है एथिक्स का सिलेबस, उसमें है conscience, constitution, laws and rules as a source of ethical guidance, ऐसा पॉइंट ही है सिलेबस का, उससे आया. ठीक. नाउ व्हाट इज conscience का डिफिनेशन, व्हाट इज conscience? conscience का क्या मतलब है? इट्स अ इनर एबिलिटी और इनर मॉरल कंपास. Inside you there is a inherent ability, you can say, but you cannot write antaratma in English. This thing, no, you have to write in English only, English medium only, no, all. So inner, because now when UPSC has come, obviously UPSC come up with Hindi translation also of the question. So conscience को वो अंतरात्मा की आवाज ही लिखते हैं, but हम उसको लिख नहीं सकते. So inner ability to differentiate between right and wrong, it's an inner moral compass. Compass समझते हैं, which something which indicates the direction, right direction. What is right? That is what conscience is, and it is inner inclination. It is very intimate to a person. It is a not subjective per se, but it is individual. Okay. Conscience. Okay. So conscience as a better guide. That's what the question is saying. Because it's not just blindly following the rules. Okay. For example, following the orders of seniors, just like that. Corruption wala. Bol diya senior ne, it's my duty to follow the senior. No. You have to apply conscience. Like for example, what is this minister, what is his name? This person called Arif Muhammad, who is the governor now of Kerala. When this Session-1 judgment happened, when the government decided that, he resigned from the government. So he could have just continued, but he said no, this is against my Session-1 judgment and everything. So he resigned from the government being a minister. That is not just following what the Prime Minister and the Parliament is saying. Only because they have passed the law, I cannot agree to it. Sometimes conscience works. SALT Act. What did Mahatma Gandhi do? I'll break the law. Because law doesn't mean it is right. My conscience has to allow that. समझ में आ रहा अभी? मुझे अंदर से वो सही लगना चाहिए, right? Or for example, you are asked to implement the Sedition Act. You know Sedition Act? राजद्रोह अभी भी है, वो जाने वाला है, लेकिन अभी तो है. So what happens? You feel a sense of dilemma inside you कि ये नहीं करेंगे मैं. So consent, then you decide what to do. This is not a case study. I am just saying these are the examples which creates dilemma. So where conscience helps you, because sedition is always considered to be draconian. Yes, absolutely. That वो बाद में आएगा. You are absolutely right. Ram Mohan Rai, Ambedkar, what did they do? Their own conscience. Why do you think this women reservation bill is coming? Now there is no rule. It is coming. Why? Now somebody's conscience, some feminist conscience 50 years पहले, now it is become everybody's conscience. Now it has become collective conscience. Now nobody is denying it. Nobody, you know how voting happened? In Rajya Sabha, all 245 or 2 something, 250 for example, 250 तो है ही नहीं Rajya Sabha में. हाँ 215 all voted for. In Lok Sabha 454 as to 2, only 2 voted against. Who are these 2? You know? हाँ OWC and दोनों OWC के MPs, उन्होंने वो रिजेक्ट किया वो अलग कारण के लिए कि इसमें मुस्लिम महिलाओं के लिए रिजर्वेशन, वो पॉलिटिकल इशू है, बट अल्टीमेटली एवरीबडी फॉलोड इट, दे आर इन प्रिंसिपल दे आर ऑल्सो इन एग्रीमेंट, ओनली थिंग इज कि वो मुस्लिम महिला का आरक्षण होना चाहिए, वो तो अलग पॉलिटिकल इशू है. पॉइंट इज यस इट टुक टाइम, यस 377 section 377 of what happened with the section 377 IPC? Homosexuality. Now once upon a time it was criminalized, it was a wrong criminal act. Now it's not a criminal act, so conscience got developed. Now people also accept it. Now people are asking for the marriage of transgenders or homosexual, whatever you want to call it. Maybe it will develop another 20 years down the line. Conscience is actually a thing. Rules will be, so point is now it's about perspective. If you see from the broader perspective, it's all conscience. But now when you are administrator, something comes in front of you as a law, but you think that it is not right thing to do. There's the dilemma. So there also conscience helps. How? Because conscience, that's the thing. See, you're not blindly following the rules. Why conscience is better? Unique circumstances, because law is not generally a standardized form, but in this particular situation we don't know. It's a yes, but the point is your interpretation also required. Spirit, letter and the spirit. So spirit of the law also should be followed. Sometimes the letter of the law stops you from the following of the spirit of the law. Example is, somebody is coming to you who know very old lady, asking for some ration PDS, but does not have enough documents. What do? Classical case. So you have to do something extra. You cannot just say that no, my rule book is not allowing it. We cannot do that, right? Like for example, see, for specific situation, no documents but ration needed, like that I mentioned. This was the case study also, you know this. In one of the 2014, there was a case study, 14 or 13 itself. 13 itself, there was a case study. Exactly this. There is a destitute woman coming to you, you are an officer, whether you will give the entitlement or not, something like that. Consider, okay, you just followed the rule, doesn't give that satisfaction. But if you follow your own morality, it gives you satisfaction. Yes? समझ में आ रहा है? कि, like for example, if you follow your rule, you know that I just did my duty. But if you do something extra, or you do something which your conscience allows, it gives you satisfaction, inner satisfaction. Yes, we can do that. We can do that. That's what I said. When a old lady comes to you, you clearly see that she doesn't have. Your informal inquiry also establishes that she needs the PDS food, but she doesn't have the card. Why? She's saying that last floods she lost all the card that she had. What would you do? If you say no, I'll give it, where would you note it? So that was the case study itself. So there are many things like you do the further inquiry, for now you give it, your personal responsibility, things like that. There are many. आज एक केस स्टडी भी वैसी है, देखेंगे. वो डायलेमा होगा तभी तो क्वेश्चन पेपर बनेगा. डायलेमा ही नहीं है तो there won't be any question paper like this, right? But your point is okay. Then inner satisfaction, like you know this example of this IAS officer Armstrong Palme or many other IAS officers, they go extra mile. Now what they are doing is not expected. Then they collect. IAS officers saying that I am doing crowdfunding. Okay. Now they would be, it's not actually legal. So you are not expected, it's not illegal also, but you are not expected to collect money from your own. You know, you got the point. But he did it. But he did it in a very different way. So yes, you know, he actually did not get caught into the legal framework of things. He is like, he successfully kept itself away and it was praised, appreciated. Sense of responsibility. Because you do on your conscience, you take the responsibility of what you are doing. Not because, dekho, it was written in the book. Don't ask me. Ask the bookmakers. I mean, rule makers. But when you do it on your own, you take the responsibility that I am doing it, don't worry. It's a sense of responsibility. Laws may be influenced by political motives of that time, like Salt Act of the British rule. So laws would be like Forest Right Act might be going against the tribal culture there, and you are clearly seeing that no, this provision should not be there as far as this district is concerned. So at least you can do something, then you have to send back the report, this cannot be done, you can do that, no? And see, law as far as the morality and see, that happens next, whether there is way of surpassing the law, bypassing the law, not, but at least as far as the intention is concerned, you never want to do something outright illegal, you never want to do something really immoral. Okay, this debate always comes in the ethics paper, every year at least one question, immoral, illegal, like that the question is, and it's not always against each other. See, sometimes law helps, how? Sometimes situation is so complex that you are not able to see yourself what is right, what is wrong, your moral reasoning is not giving you positive result, conclusive result as to what is to be done. In that case, better to go with law, right? It happens. इसमें क्या करना चाहिए, I am not able to understand. Common standards, generally we already seen this, generally this sense of equality is equal treatment, because see, law is always based on equality. So you, rather than giving a special treatment to someone, there is a sense of there is a perception that everybody is being treated equally, कोई issue नहीं है. That helps when law is followed. अंधा कानून, because even if we know law is always blind to individual identities, तो वो debate रहेगा हमेशा. But ultimately conscience is the basis of the law also. That the point that initially you talked about, every law is actually expression of or codification of collective conscience of the society of the day. तो वो point यहाँ पे राम मोहन राय का example, women reservation bill, we already discussed about this. ठीक? Any doubt here? Now this same can be written in table format, you know, conscience and laws and regulations. The same point we can put like this, like this, like this. What are the positive here, positive here, positive? If that also can be done, but I thought this is the better way, because yes, and there is no clear cut differentiation. Like here, they are dependent on each other also. Okay. We have written, no? See, both important, but conscience is at the core. So conscience is at the core. Here one more point. See, law is expression of conscience. Law is expression of society's collective conscience, and law is actually that framework to implement the conscience. Goodwill, how would you get implemented? Laws are made for that. If some person is BPL, give him this. Why? Because poor should be helped. So law is that instrument to implement it. Okay, what are the major teachings of Guru Nanak? Explain their relevance in contemporary world. Okay, ये तो you know this, एक ओंकार, सेवा, equality, justice, dignity, नाम स्मरण and honest livelihood. इसके अलावा भी कुछ हो, that also you can write. But what are the relevance here? Religious tolerance, because ekam, you know this, ekam sat vipraha bahuda vadanti, it's a very famous shloka. Ekam sat means truth is one, and you can worship it in different ways. Ways might be different. So what happens? Religious tolerance, कि आप अपना वे रखो, कोई इश्यू नहीं है, गॉड तो एक ही है. So religious tolerance means what? आपका गॉड और मेरा गॉड एक ही है, बिकॉज थ्योरेटिकली वो दो हो ही नहीं सकते, वेज अलग अलग है. तो वे का तो कोई इश्यू नहीं है. ठीक. सेवा तो आपको पता ही होगा, इनफैक्ट ये बहुत you can elaborate this point a little bit more. The concept of seva, you know this, no? Seva, selfless service, langars, and many other things that they do. During COVID also a lot of food distribution was done by many Sikh organizations. The credit has to go to Guru Nanak only, right? Then equality and justice, that time also they fought, it is relevant today also. Caste and gender discrimination. Human dignity, that is everyone is equal in front of God. So the sense of worth sense of worth of every human being is same. That is dignity. That also he emphasized. Devotion and bhakti, naam simran or smaran, जो भी बोलो उसको. Devotion and bhakti and meditation. That helps you in modern day. It is all the more important for anxiety and other things. We know mental health. Honest livelihood. Basically here, whatever you do job for earning your livelihood, it should be ethical. So basically, ethicality is more important than material gain. You do the material gain for your own livelihood, but it should be what? Based on ethical principles, right? So these are the specific things that he talked about. So uske alawa, uske accordingly, these are the relevance of it. Here also you can write teachings corresponding relevance. Okay, so teaching relevance example ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं, right? ठीक है, इसमें कोई डाउट? ये तो थोड़ा थ्योरेटिकल था. ठीक है, अब समझ में आ रहा है? मेकिंग सेंस टिल नाउ? नेक्स्ट. Now there was this question number 3 that had 3 quotes. I had kept quotes separated. Why? Because they are a different kind itself. Species ही अलग है वो. Again, quote is closer to okay, philosophy is still okay, but still it is closer to essay. Quotes are nothing but small essay only. Essay के topic, quote के topic ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं होता. Only thing is, in the essay topic, they would not have mentioned whose quote is this. They will just write the topic. Have you seen this year's essay? Essay paper देखा है? So this is the wording of the quote question. Given below are the 3 quotations of the great thinkers. What do each of these quotations convey to you in the present context? ये 2 वर्ड ज़्यादा important है. To you and present context. Otherwise, you cannot just write anything. Or you should not write theoretical answer as to what XY and Mr. Mahatma Gandhi is trying to say. No. Whatever he might be trying to say, what do you understand by it? So keep it simple, right? Let's see one by one 3 quotes. Then we'll move to case studies. The simplest act of kindness are by far more powerful than 1,000 heads bowing in prayer. What is the quote trying to say? Your religious stuff, yes. Moral action based on moral duty is much more important, much more effective and significant than your religious rituals. Some problem comes, don't just run to the God and sit there, somebody else will do it. Better do something positive for someone. So humanity, action towards humanity, more important than rituals in the religious sphere. Who is saying this? Whose quote? महात्मा गांधी. अभी समझ में आ रहा है महात्मा गांधी का quote मतलब? उन्होंने खुद भी वही किया. Though he himself used to do a lot of prayer every day, but that is a small part of his life. He says most of the time, rest of the 23 hours I will be doing the action of kindness towards others. Right? So, significance of compassionate action over religious rituals. That's what the question is. वो इसमें introduction में आप you can just mention this quote. You know, compassionate action is considered to be the more effective way of serving society than religious rituals. Okay. Act of kindness have a direct impact on others' lives. Now, why it is the case? You have to write. Never criticize the quote. No, you are not allowed to do it in ethics paper. The other side of the quote, the reverse side of the quote. No. In ethics, just elaborate the quote as it is. Act of kindness have a direct impact on others' lives. Kindness can create a ripple effect in positivity, because if you do one act of kindness, it gets ripple. You know what is ripple effect? Somebody else will get inspired to do ethical act, and you yourself also can get inspired to do further more ethical act. Kindness is a universal language. So as far as the language is concerned, it is not depend, your kindness action, kind action is not dependent on whether the other person understand your language proper. Action itself is a language. So it helps, it is a universal action then. More humanistic because it's not with respect to some area or some geographical area or some linguistic area. So language, kindness, even if somebody doesn't know your language, still kindness would be understood. Action is always better than intention, because somebody who is bowing in the prayer might also have good intention, but only good intention doesn't help. What is important is action, and that action, that is simple act of kindness. Then action means taking responsibility. When you do action, you take responsibility. Like there is another famous quote of Mother Teresa: if you are not able to feed the 100, feed one. 100 लोगों को अगर खाना नहीं दे पा रहे, एक को दो. At least that much, rather than sitting and praying that हे भगवान 100 को खाना मिल जाए. That's what the question is. Sitting back and expecting and praying that, you know, let the 100 get the food. Better you give food to one. Okay, like bread is the food for the body, kindness is the food for the soul. Means it actually empowers, strengthens your own soul. Soul here is inner, this thing, your inner identity, your inner self, whatever you want to call it. Because you do good, you might have experienced this. The day you help someone just like that, at least for next 2-3 hours you feel so better about yourself. Yes? Like, okay, I could do it. You always feel good when you help someone else, especially when it is not expected. Yes? Yes? See, there it is called indoctrination. Why? Because there have been many cases where so-called terrorists and people who are in organized crime indoctrinated to do that. Many cases where they have renounced it and come out, realizing that it is wrong. But but you will never find anybody who renounce the moral actions that we do in our society, that no, I have been socialized, this was indoctrination, morality करके कुछ नहीं होता, ऐसे कोई नहीं मिलेगा आपको. Why? Because we know, if you apply enough moral reasoning, you know. See, it's as simple as that. Morality का एक simple rule है, that is called golden rule of morality. So your action should be in such a way that to whom you are acting, with respect to whom you are taking decision, you act in such a way that if you were, he or she was in your position, you would have expected positively that person to do that to you. Treat others the way you want others to treat you. Or there is another definition by Kant where he says ethical behavior is that behavior which the one who does it happily expects that to be a universal behavior. So if terrorist wants to kill others, he should happily feel that everybody should kill my family members because it is good for them. Will that be ethical action then? But yes, if I am helping you with money, with time, with whatever, I expect that to be universal behavior. Means everybody should help then needy. Do I expect that? Yes. Then it is ethical behavior. So that's the difference between indoctrinated behavior and ethical behavior. They are soldiers of a political ideology. They are not soldiers of humanity. And interestingly, even if you interview some terrorist or somebody who has, as you mentioned, socialized, this is not socialization, that is indoctrination, he or she will try to convey to you, interestingly, my ideology is the most humanist. Why? Why he has to say that? Because he also knows that helping others, being good to human being is good. He had to prove that I am good, I am not bad. Why? Because he knows that is exact. Even in that situation after indoctrination, he also knows. And it is very simple thing. Who in the world likes pain? Tell me. No animal likes pain. Has to go through pain, that's another story. Nobody likes physical harm. Nobody likes physical pain. Somebody, Ajmal Kasab doing it, whatever he did. Will he be happy if somebody goes to his village and does the same to all his family members? No. He will protect. You're like, now I'll protect mine. What's the point then? That means it's not ethical act, it's a selfish act. Okay? And clearly they do it for what? Especially if you see Islamic terrorism, it's very clear they do it for what? They do it for their selfish gain in Jannat, not for the betterment of the society. They are very clear, no? Okay? Selfish only. Okay? So while prayer and worship have their own importance, so you should not deny the prayer and worship, because Gandhi himself did it. But the simplest act of kindness are by far more powerful in creating positive impact. ये one of the way of concluding है, उसके अलावा भी आप conclude कर सकते हैं, right? Next, to awaken the people, it is the woman who must be awakened. Once she is on the move, the family moves, the village moves, the nation moves. जवाहरलाल नेहरू, ये कोट तो ज़्यादा कोई, I don't think I don't need to tell you anything, because so many examples you know, but still pivotal role women play in societal transformation, because the question connotation is not just moral. You know, question is not just saying no, help women, they need. Yes, empowerment, and there are many. Even women reservation bill is the best example. उससे अलावा कोई empowerment नहीं हो सकती. In a democracy, the biggest power is politics, and you are giving directly political power to women. इससे अलावा कोई empowerment नहीं हो सकती long term में, because if it remains for 20 years, there would be huge difference, because policies will be made in such a way. Automatically, the political corridors, power corridors will have more women. So automatically more women businessmen will come up, more women scientists will automatic, because democracy, in democracy, the most powerful instrument is politics, whether you agree or do not agree. And most powerful position is prime minister. You agree or do not agree. Second most powerful is all the other ministers, whoever, finance minister, home, they are the most powerful. In the state, chief minister is powerful, you cannot deny it. But most importantly, people are also saying that no, Mayawati bhi thi, there have been Jayalalitha also. So when Jayalalitha was there, that's why Tamil Nadu is much better in women this thing than other states, at least that much. But still we have to understand it. States still have a lot of compulsions. One person heading Indira Gandhi, Mayawati, Mamata Banerjee, Jayalalitha, there is a difference between one person heading and 180 women sitting in the parliament. Huge difference. You need to understand there is a difference. One person, okay, the person is just a person, though she is a woman, she is a person. But 180 women is not a person, it is a force. I see it from that point of view. And this exactly, if in future you are required to write like this, There might be some quote also, like individual women getting highest achievements in the political sphere does not guarantee the overall empowerment of the woman. Critically analyzed. Society में आ सकता है paper 1 GS में. There you need to write this aspect that individual women it's okay, but when presence of women, simple no, one CEO or one, like there is an office, okay, and there are 100 employees, and head if the employee is a woman because उसके पिताजी का वो ये है ऑफिस था, he died, now she is heading, okay, very good. Instead of that, just imagine out of 100, 60 are women on the floor. Even if the CEO is not women, doesn't matter. 60 फ्लोर पे ही वुमेन है तो आपका कोई डिसीजन हो ही नहीं सकता अगेंस्ट वुमेन. तो ये पॉइंट हमेशा याद रखो. इट्स वेरी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट. दैट्स व्हाई एन ऑप्टिकल प्रेजेंस तो बहुत. जस्ट इमेजिन वन फोटो ऑफ न्यू पार्लियामेंट, अभी नहीं, 2-3 साल और, देयर विल बी 2-3 more years. Yes, but even developed countries would not have so many legislators sitting in the parliament of them. America, we at least had Indira Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. America never had any president woman. You need to understand, but that is also this thing. But this is the much expected. And by the way, they will be doing delimitation. There will be more seats around 800. Out of 800, 30%, 33%. Not out of 543. After delimitation, they are going to implement, right? So out of 800, 1/3 means how many? More than 200. Anyway, so 50% population तो है ही. Direct impact है child वो first exposure, education of a person. See, 50% are women, and rest 50% first teacher is a woman. Rest 50% men, first teacher is a woman only, mother. So if you empower her overall, and when we say empower means यहाँ पे क्या है? Awakened, not empower. Awakened decision making ability, and women should be awakened means they should have rights. It's not just about rights and entitlement, that's what I'm saying. It's about they taking the leading role with respect to ethicality of the society, morality of the society, right and wrong of the society. So automatically they will trickle down their own morality, non-violence, inclusiveness, compassion to the rest of the 50% also being mothers. The only thing is, for their awakening, they should be given enough power at least first to start up with. Equal power. That's what is being done. Okay, यहाँ पे भी वन रिजर्वेशन बिल वगैरह आ रहा है. Okay, for any society to transform itself has to empower its women. It is evident by the fact that all the developed and progressive societies are those where women are empowerment. It is clearly evident. No, all these developed and progressive societies वो है जहाँ पे women को equal chance दिया गया है. Now, not just developed, not just economic powers. I am saying developed and progressive society. Every sense, yes. Human development. Scandinavians, Europeans, US, all the places, and India perhaps hopefully on the same road. Next, ये भी similar type आया है. Woman powered, yes, we can say, but woman powered नहीं होगा फिर. Man is very, अभी तक जो है, masculinity is considered to be a force, power. Women would not just be a power as expected ideally, they would be a guide rather than a power. So they will not force somebody, they will inspire others as expected, because you can get work done by two things, either force or inspiration. Force से भी you can force somebody to do something, or you can inspire somebody to do something. The second way is better. Okay, coercion कम होता है women है तो ऐसे माना जाता है, पता नहीं. इंदिरा गांधी also, but इंदिरा गांधी तो उल्टा प्रूव कर दिए. She was more aggressive than many other male prime ministers. Anyway, hate is a strong. So ये क्या है? Do not hate anybody. ये quote है. because that hatred comes out from you must in long run come back to you. If you love, that love will come back to you, completing the circle. Swami Vivekananda. So question is about hatred versus love. क्या लिखेंगे? What would you write? जनरल है. You might be thinking as to what is to write. यार ये इतना जनरल है, इसमें लिखो क्या? But है, there are things to write. First write about hate. Why hate is bad? Yes, hate is a strong negative emotion that can consume individual and lead harmful consequences. Extend that. Whereas love, उसके opposite लिखना है. Love is a more inclusive, pleasant feeling. See, love is a genuine, emotion of love for someone, anyone you have. The one who is having is also feeling good. For whom it is being, he is or he she is having is also feeling good. It's a win-win. Hate is exactly opposite. If I am hating someone, the one who is hated is also feeling bad about it, and I am also not very pleasant about it, because there is another quote by Buddha who had come in our this thing. यहाँ पे लिखा होगा मैंने, यहाँ पे नहीं आया है कि anger is like a burning charcoal. Being angry on someone is like holding a burning charcoal, जलता हुआ जो कोयला है. With the intention of throwing it. What's the problem here? First thing that will happen is your hand will be burned, and second, you don't know whether it will hit him. That's exactly what happens with hate. You are very hatredful for me. I can evade it with my skill. कि कोई बात नहीं, ऐसा होता है. I can protect myself from your hatred, but you are for sure burning from it. ऐसा ही है, वही context है. And उसी के अपोजिट लव का है. मैंने इसमें हेट का लिखा है बिकॉज अपोजिट इज लव, राइट. हेट इज अ नेगेटिव एनर्जी, इट कम्स बैक टू अस. Even from psychological point of view, being hateful is a very detrimental emotions that you can be. It harms you emotionally, mentally, and if you remain hatredful for many years or many months for that matter, it impacts you physically also. You know this. आपकी psychosomatic connections होते हैं. So if you are psychologically going through a lot of hatred for many years, it impacts your own health. ये अभी almost proven है that this mentality directly impacts your bodily things. Hate leads to immoral and illegal action. वो तो पता ही है. See, गुस्से में कुछ कर देते हैं, बाद में it happens to be immoral or illegal, फिर बाद में punishment मिल जाती है. So hate breeds violence. Violence leads to hate, lead to violence. Violence leads to punishment to yourself, perhaps. Nobody likes violence, right? See, you get violent only when you are angry. Otherwise, who likes violence? Nobody likes violence. You know this. People are forced into getting violent for whatever reasons. No, otherwise, सब कुछ अगर बढ़िया है तो violence क्यों होंगे? कोई, nobody is violent. वो, that's what. That is because people are not able to control their hate. To stop violence, you are doing violence. That's another story. Simple example दो ना कि आपको कितना भी गुस्सा आ रहा है. That is one thing. Even if you are very angry for something. Simple example. Like for as an administrator in an office setup, you go and slap someone because you are angry. हो गया, जिसको हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, हो गया कांड. It's a big problem now. Your anger, तो it's now sideline. The main issue is why did you slap? And you never know the other four will slap you. Now, reason of anger might be something else, but is violence solution? No. Violence can never be solution. Violence is solution for violence only, and that to defense is a solution, not violence is a solution. Now, in the defense you are required to do violence. That's another. That's why do we call Ministry of Attack? What do we call? Ministry of Defense. So government don't attack, they defend. For that they attack. Yes, Ministry of Attack नहीं होता, Ministry of Defense होता. मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ अटैक किसका होता है? टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. दे हैव अटैक विंग, हो सकता है कुछ नाम में उसका इन देयर ओन लैंग्वेज. फॉर श्योर दे वुड बी अटैक विंग ही होगा, और क्या होगा, बिकॉज दे वुड बी दी ऑलवेज वुड बी द फर्स्ट टू स्ट्राइक दिस थिंग ब्लो फर्स्ट. सो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ डिफेंस मीन्स बिकॉज डिफेंडिंग इज अ राइट. इंटरनेशनल एथिक्स में है ना कि स्ट्रेंथ, सिक्योरिटी एंड पीस these are considered pillars of international justice, international ethics. Strength, security and peace. In that, strength is very important. Strength means to protect yourself from attack. Deterrent, yes. Like nuclear, we have nuclear for so many years. Even forget about Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Everybody had nuclear, but nobody attacked. But that is for deterrence. सेल्फ डिस्ट्रक्टिव नेचर ऑफ हेट्रेड एंड ट्रांसफॉर्मेटिव पावर ऑफ लव, ये तो आपको पता है. बाकी अलग अलग एस्पेक्ट्स. वन थिंग इज इटसेल्फ इज अनप्लेजेंट स्टेट, मेंटल इश्यूज, वायलेंस, ठीक है, दिस बर्निंग चारकोल वाला थिंग, बिकॉज हेट हार्म्स यू स्पिरिचुअली ऑल्सो, बिकॉज समबडी हु इज हेटफुल कैन नॉट गेट इनटू मेडिटेशन इजीली. वो भी एक एस्पेक्ट है. दैट्स व्हाई बुद्धा का जो स्टेटमेंट है वो ही है. It burns you from inside only, so you cannot concentrate on anything if you are hateful. That's what the point is. Okay, mota mota, ठीक है. So these are the similar. See, there are three similar questions: 2018, 16, and 20, or 16, 18, 20. Anger and intolerance are the enemies of the correct understanding. We just talked about this. Like anger kills your critical thinking. That's what the quote is talking about. 2016 the question was anger is harmful negative emotion and it is injurious to both personal life and work life. Similar, ये hatred और anger कोई अलग चीज नहीं है, similar है. मोटा मोटा broadly speaking the masala bit of the all the answers would be the same. When I say masala, I mean to say the basic stuff. Obviously the question answer should be written considering the specific demand of the question in mind. Hatred is destructive of person's wisdom and conscience that can poison the nation spirit. ये 2020 में आया हुआ है. So you know how many times this particular same question is getting repeated, right? Okay. So ये सब कुछ डाउट है अभी तक थ्योरी क्वेश्चन में? मोटा मोटा यस. Which one? I didn't get. No. ये see there is no topic where they have mentioned the word itself hate. But see the point is emotional intelligence में you need to अभी ये उतना टाइम हमारे पास है नहीं, but briefly I'll just tell you emotional intelligence, the concept itself has come from the corporate world to us. Us mean government side. Emotional intelligence, the kind of thing started off with is this: don't get swayed away by basically anger and decide. Corporate side only. Emotional intelligence is a very corporate concept. Government even now, because it is part of the syllabus, people started talking about it. Okay, so basically don't get angry on superiors, seniors, don't get angry on juniors, accordingly you work. Even if they have done something that can make you angry, don't get personally angry about it, think what can be improved upon. इसलिए वो emotional intelligence लेके आए. But now because it is a part of the syllabus and also it is the ethics paper, so they bring in Vivekanand, they bring in Mahatma Gandhi, they bring in others, Buddha, who also have talked about anger is bad, anger is bad, anger is bad, because many people say anger is good. That's another debate altogether. Like I feel anger, but I don't get swayed away by it. I store it, channelize it in a proper systematic, diplomatic, administrative way. गुस्सा निकालेंगे जरूर, like I will take the action, but not immediate. Burst out नहीं होंगे. I'll do it according to the system. Okay. Let's move to the case study section. इसमें भी I will be discussing 4 case studies. 2 will be discussed by Abhishek sir. हाँ, let us see. जितना हो पाएगा, नहीं तो बाद में कर देंगे. 4 तो हो ही जाएगा. आप थोड़ा fast, if you understand faster, it will be over faster. No problem. Let us see. Don't worry about it. Because case study तो क्या ही है, वो तो it's just case study is always interesting. Because पढ़ के लगता है कि क्या होगा इसमें. See, you are working as an executive in an internationalized bank for several years. ठीक? So you are government servant types. One day, one of your close colleague tells you that her father is suffering from heart disease and needs surgery immediately to survive. ठीक है? Any issue till this? No. She tells you that she has no insurance and the operation will cost around 10 lakh rupees. 10 lakh. You are also aware of the fact that her husband is no more and that she is from a lower middle class family. So basically nobody to support money. Scene वही sorry, they are just trying to make you trying to create the scene where you should know that she doesn't have money, there is nobody else to support, she is the perhaps only, and she is working with you, so she is earning. You are empathetic about her situation, you know, like situation. However, apart from experiencing your sympathy, you do not have the resources to fund her. ये होता है बहुत बार. You know, some friend of yours or colleague of yours asks money and you know that's a genuine thing, but you are not able to help. A few, यहाँ तक बात खत्म हो गई. You did not give the money. Over. You feel bad about it, but what can be done? आपके पास भी पैसे नहीं है, कहाँ से देंगे? A few weeks later, you ask her about the well-being of her father and she informs you about his successful surgery, very good, and that he is recovering. So you feel good about it. Please try to don't just read like this. Try to feel it like what you do in movies. इतना तो चाहिए. Case study में you have to sit there immediately. Movies like 3 घंटे में you don't have that much time to get into the role of the whoever you feel empathetic to. Immediately start thinking like that. You are actually sitting in an office and she is asking you. This is the most important for case study. Otherwise, it's very difficult to solve. Okay, so she is recovering, so you feel good about it. Now, she then confides in you, मतलब secretly बताते हैं, that the bank manager was kind enough to facilitate the release of 10 lakh from a dormant account of someone to pay for the operation with a promise that it should be confidential and be repaid at the earliest. She has already started paying it back and will continue to do so until it is returned. What do you think? ठीक है सब? Any issue in this? Do you really think there is any issue here? No, वो सब छोड़ो theoretical. जिंदगी में बताओ. Forget about theoretical things. If this happens with you, like there is a colleague and she, you know the situation, she is not very economically sound and she is struggling and all, husband bhi nahi hai, and somehow she is managing things, and her father, like that, whatever you read, and somebody helped you that way. Now she is repaying it also, and it's a dormant account, like nobody anyway was asking कि यहाँ के पैसा कहाँ गया. You know, there are some account इतने सालों से dormant पड़ा है. You know, they have been 20 lakh rupees something. Remove it, just pay it back within 4 or 5 months. पता भी नहीं चलेगा इसमें से चला गया था, आ गया था. For the person, dormant person. Okay. So, but if this happens, what would you feel? Yes, very good. What would be the like genuine feeling response from your side? That's what I'm asking. Forget about answer, वो तो हम देख लेंगे. Okay. थोड़ा you will feel कि पता नहीं how it's not good, it's not a right thing, but it's okay. एक आध, you know, it should not be the way, it should not be precedent, है ना? It should not be followed every time. But you know, once इस बार ठीक है. You know, only for this one situation it is still okay, but still there is some, you know, you are not 100% happy, right? Like, yes, they survived and all, you are very happy about it, and you have to be very appreciative about the compassion that the person showed. Who? The manager. He had taken the risk also for that, but still good that he survived and everything is okay. जैसे मूवी में कि चलो अल्टीमेटली सब ठीक हो गया, ultimately everything is fine, but the point is now this is not a good precedent, good system, good this thing to follow. What can be done about? Something has to be done about it. Yes. Now this is a very, very serious situation, okay, but what is the guarantee that the manager won't do it for non-serious things also? Because if it's successfully being done now, he will say like, okay, for something else also we'll do it. You know, his son wanted some bike and he was supposed to take loan. He said like, why to take loan? Just release this money and I know within 3-4 months I'll pay it back. Bike bhi aa gaya, money to वैसे भी उधर ही है, but it is not right. Now only thing here is in the case study what you have to write. Question is, what are the ethical issues? This is exactly what you discussed, you have to write. Now it is one good at the one side, but both the side just write. Good that he took the risk, good that he felt the compassion for the thing, good that he put extra efforts for saving the life and helping the colleague, one side. But it's a wrong precedent. Tomorrow he can use it for the smaller issues also, non-serious issues also, petty issues also, and it is difficult. It would be a big difficulty for the employee also tomorrow if investigation comes. That lady who received, record में तो आ जाएगा. How would you do it otherwise? You release the, you withdraw the money. Who withdrew the money? Some trail will be there, right? How would you withdraw the money? Can you withdraw the money without giving reason? So he is doing something illegal. So at the one side, though his efforts would be appreciated so that everything was saved, but this is the wrong side he did. Second, evaluate the behavior of the bank manager from an ethical point of view. ये दोनों एक ही है. Sometimes ये केस स्टडी भी वैसे बकवासी है, to be very, very honest. उसमें कुछ there is nothing. If you see there is, if you see last 2 years case studies, you realize why I am talking like this. It's very straightforward. ऐसा हो गया, okay, बताओ. एक there is no instance, there is no complexity. You know, anyway, जो पूछा है उसी पे बात करना पड़ेगा. And how would you react to the situation? Now, okay, this much is established. What would you do? How would you react to the situation? No, react. Okay. See, if you are saying, no, here there is a problem. If you say that there is something wrong happened, then how can you not react to it? No, it has happened now. Now you have to react. You cannot say, no, I would have given money. That is not the case in front of you. That has already happened. Now you tell me how would you react to it? You are getting the point. The thing has happened successfully. Even for that matter, she has already paid 70% of it and she would be probably paying 20% in next 2 months. Over. But what would you do? What would you react to the situation? One situation is, why should I do anything? उनका अपना देख ले. Let them do whatever they want to do. The mess has been done by them. Let them clear it. Obviously, that's not the expected thing. Because here you need to understand one thing. The manager and the lady, both would be in trouble tomorrow. You never know. Because if the dormant account person prints the passbook after 6 months, there would be everything written, no? How can you remove money? Passbook पे सब आ जाएगा, statement में आ जाएगा. So then how would you justify problem? Something has to be done. इतना तो सब पता. Now if something has to be done on ethical side, anywhere in your life, if something has to be done, and if you are even a slightest control over situation, don't you think you should do something about it? I'm not saying you cannot remove the manager, you don't have that power, you are not senior of him, he is your senior, yes, or at least equal, he is not your junior, that is not mentioned here. What are you? You are just an executive, you don't know what level you are, and he is a manager, bank manager, so perhaps he is senior to you, but to the extent possible, what can you do? In UPSC case study, this is always important, you have to take action on the basis of your role. You are getting the point? So it's, you cannot go beyond your role, number 1. Number 2, the way you cannot go beyond your role, in the same way you cannot deny your responsibility. So responsibility has to be followed, but role has to be maintained, not going beyond and not doing less. It is applicable always in the case study, you cannot deny it, right? So getting my point? देखेंगे आगे है ना? No, there are many actions can be taken. First and foremost, you can meet the person, the manager, and yes, that inform everything to the concerned authorities and be ready for whatever punishment for that. It won't be a big punishment, maybe they will pardon, that's their issue, that is not required. No, they have not asked what are options do you have. In that case you can mention. Here just respond, because anyway there are 3 questions. So better you just, what would you do? Okay, let us see. So first, generally how you write case studies is briefly mention things in the first paragraph. Now what is the situation? What are my roles and responsibilities? And what would be the consequences, like what are the people that will get affected by my decision? Roles and responsibilities and stakeholders. This generally every case would have in the form of brief, right? Next, always should mention the, always should follow the structure that is expected by the question. Always, like A, B, C, you should always write under that subheading, always. If they have asked A and B, please write A and B only. If they have asked ethical issues, write ethical issues, evaluation, response. You should not be writing general, because it's a system, you have to follow the system of the question, right? So ethical issues, compassion, then compassion, then breaking the rule, responsibility towards her father or saving the life, whatever, sense of guilt in me for not being, see there is one ethical issue of me being not courageous and innovative enough. Why? I could have managed some other way, I did not just help, I just refused to help her, so I am in guilt, no? There are many ways to collect the money, it's a serious issue, anybody could have given the money. We could have crowd funded, crowd collected. Yes, but the point is now that is an ethical issue in me, now it cannot be done, but ethical issues involved in the case, so that behavior was lack of courage and lack of perhaps compassion from my side, and there is a sense of guilt in me. लिखने में क्या दिक्कत है? होगा ही, situation हो गया. Evaluation of manager's behavior, lacked integrity and probity, वो तो है ही. Upheld the compassion, breaking the rules, and whatever we discussed, like this is right, wrong precedent, his behavior is going to be a big problem, tomorrow he may do it for the petty things, he may require to explain the things, it will be detrimental to him and the lady. So behavior of the manager was not, barring the compassion aspect, it is something that is not to be appreciated, yes, or kind of accepted. So response, interact with the manager to know the details. Now one important thing, we also need to confirm what he did. Is it under his roles and powers? We never know. Once you have to affirm, right? Whatever he did, is legally okay for him at his level? Maybe, we never know. So just ascertain that whatever he did was according to the law. If it is not, then if it is, then my issue, then there is no debate. Most likely it won't be. Then if proven to be breaking of rules, request him to disclose to the concerned authorities कि भाई मैंने I have done this for these reasons. Concerned authorities will decide what to do, but at least when it is disclosed, they will know, and they will further communicate to the upar wala. Inspire him to take the responsibility of the action, as that would be the real test of his sacrifice. ये भी एक है. Like if he really wanted to help, he has to take the brunt of it. He cannot say that no, right? Appreciate his compassion, that is okay, very good, अच्छा किया. But convince him to go through whatever is the decision of the concerned authority. If you disclose, please go through it. That's what we discussed. So you have to, now here, you have to inspire, you cannot order. You have to convince, you have to talk to him. If that's not happening, then you can, with his, with intimation to him, you ask him that if not, I will be anyway going to communicate to the higher authorities, because it is good for you. I know it is good for the lady, good for the you, and good for the everything. So that also would be one of the things. That will reflect not just compassion but also fortitude, that's okay. And then you also, one more aspect that we can add here is, you can also inform concerned authorities about the incident and let them take, with proper intimation to him that I am doing it because it is good for both. Because in ethics paper you cannot say कि ठीक है. First is don't do anything, obviously option ही नहीं है. Second, you just convince him. If he gets convinced, it's okay, otherwise I will not do it. No, you have to make sure that things gets recorded in somewhere, and that would be reversed in some other way. Something has to be done there, right? No, generally they are not asking your side. Only one ethical issues you can ask: sense of guilt in me. That much is enough. That I could have helped in a more innovative way and all. That is the ethical analysis of my not accepting that behavior that time. हो सकता है ऐसे होता भी है, right? Next case study. A landslide occurred in the middle of the night on 20th July 1923. ठीक है. In the remote hamlet is the most important thing. Approximately 60 kilometers from Uttarkashi is not important. A landslide was caused by torrential rain, बहुत ज़्यादा बारिश, too much rains, and has resulted in a large scale destruction of property of life. Now Uttarkashi means a very very hilly area basically, right? Now you as a district magistrate of that have rushed to the spot with a team of doctors, NGOs, media and police, along with the numerous support staff to oversee the rescue operation. So you are able to see the scene. Somewhere in the hilly area, lot of rain, some rescue activities happening, media, NGOs, you and other staff is there. A man comes running to you with a request for urgent medical help for his pregnant wife who is in labor and is losing blood. Now you directed your medical team to examine his wife. Now they return and convey to you that this woman needs blood transfusion immediately because lot of loss of blood is happening. Upon inquiry, you come to know that a few blood collection bags and blood group test kits are available in the ambulance and accompanying your team. Few people of your team have already volunteered to donate the blood. So the scene is, you have all the blood group testing and all the blood bags and stuff. So and the people with blood obviously. So instrument and the source of the blood is available with you then and there itself in the ambulance. Being a physician who has graduated from AIIMS, मतलब आप कौन है, खुद डॉक्टर है, you are yourself doctor, you know that the blood transmission needs to be procured only through a recognized blood bank. इधर उधर से blood लेना allowed नहीं होता. AIIMS डॉक्टर है, खुद. So you know, being a doctor, you know that blood cannot be taken just like from anywhere. It has to be taken from recognized blood banks. Why? Obviously for maintaining so many other quality aspects, health aspects, hygiene aspects, so many things. Recognized blood bank means they will have all the details, the blood will be tested. Like I don't know what kind of something you might be going through, you also may not know. If for example the person had blood cancer, initial stage, that blood comes to you. So after 2 years you will have blood cancer, khatam, you cannot do anything about it, or some other thing. So that's why recognized blood banks, why? All the blood parameters would be checked whether this blood is eligible to be given to someone else. That's why recognized blood bank. Got the point? Your team members are divided on the issue. Some favor transfusion while some other oppose it. The doctors in the team are ready to facilitate the dilemma. Your professional training emphasizes on prioritizing service to the humanity and serving lives of the individual. Obviously ये बात आगे का बाद में, what would you do is the question. First, what are the ethical issues, and as a DM what would you do? Again, very simplistic case study, whether you will go for it, not go for it, or some other. Now here, evaluate the options available to you being district magistrate of the area. Now evaluate options means what are the merits, what are the demerits and stuff. What would you do? देंगे ब्लड और नहीं? Lot of rain, hilly area, and rescue operation is happening. Lagbhag. No, your point is still taken. I am just playing devil's advocate here, right? Giving the blood from the volunteers. Okay. Okay, so the point is, when you are saying possibility of the blood bank or possibility of the lady taking to the other hospital and stuff, that means ये transfusion तो नहीं करेंगे. That's what you are saying. That's what he is saying, right? The main question is, you are right, I am not saying you are wrong. The main question is, you will not do this transfusion that is being talked about, right? No, that is ready. All healthy and all, every volunteers, everybody is ready. But the problem is you have blood bags kit, volunteers, that's all, and blood group testing kit. So the blood will be tested with respect to its groups, that's all. We don't know the blood inside, as in further long term any issue with the blood that volunteer is giving. May result in so many things. So risk तो है. Yes. Action should be taken, that is correct. Okay. So let us see now here, this is always an important part. In situation like this, especially at least on GS paper 4, really what would you do, that's another story. In real life when you will become DM and something of this sort, that's another story. But you on the paper you have to write, you have to touch upon many different aspects, that's all. So the point is, innovation always helps. What can be innovatively done here is the thing. So like for example, what I have done, one of the things is, if rescue operation is going on, means there would be helicopters. At the DM level, if Uttarkashi rescue operation is going on, obviously NDRF would be there. Within 20 minutes that women can be sent to even Dehradun. that is for sure, but arrange for helicopter is also good, and NDRF would be there for sure, rescue operation is going. See, that's the thing, they are pushing you to think, take decision, but innovation is better. Now if both the things, so because we have doctors, we have ambulance, so we can manage to restrict the blood flow for some time, and through air ambulance kind of situation, with 1 or 2 volunteers with her in the helicopter, or also blood, with a similar group blood already extracted and kept in the bag in case of real emergency to be given to her. But first effort would be made to take her to the Dehradun. Dehradun only, why hospital? Uttarkashi they are talking about. Dehradun will be just 20 minutes for helicopter. How much time? In fact, as far as the hills are concerned, from top, like higher height to the lower height, it reaches very early. No need to take road like this, right? Straight away, and it's possible. So and this happens, this have happened many places. By helicopter, the health emergency, individual person के लिए पूरा helicopter book हुआ है, without charging a rupee to the person, because it's a emergency in front of you. What can you do about it? Nothing. Later you can do all the paperwork as to why helicopter was used and all that. That can be done because it's honest thing. So nobody can this thing, right? This is the basically kind of inclination of answer that you can say. Otherwise, it's you restrict yourself to what they are saying, then you are not innovative enough. The point is, think little outside. Like nearby hospitals you cannot, because there is all rescue rain happening, you cannot do anything about it. Now if rain is continuing too much, helicopter also cannot function. That also need to be taken into consideration. So considering all those things, you have to take the decision. And if doctor says that if she is not given any blood, she will die in, and it's not that she will die, the child also will die. So 2 lives at the stake. If doctor says that if she is not given at that point of time, that time you can. So keep things ready, that have the blood test done, have the things who is most in suitable blood, matching blood, keep everything ready. Only thing is, till the time if she is able to reach to the hospital. Yes. Because you are a doctor, means written no, your professional training, that is doctor, emphasize on prioritizing service to humanity and saving lives of individuals. Being a doctor, Hippocratic oath they are talking about. Being a doctor, it's your professional job. Though DM to hai hi. See, being DM, you are concerned about the district, the rescue operation, saving the people. करते ही, but obviously वो तो है ही. AIMS, like AIMS means you have already studied free of cost. That is also other option, other aspect. AIMS means free of cost, right? Almost free of cost. Government of India funding for your education. 15 rupees per day is the hostel cost of AIMS. You know this. 15 rupees per day, including food, everything. Okay. So, no, yes, see, testing and all will be anyway done. Keep things ready, but use helicopter and go. That's the main thing to be done. Okay. So what are the options? Going ahead with the transfusion, not going ahead with the transfusion immediately, but try to get blood authorized. Look for any other recognized blood bank nearby to get the blood, or इसमें look for any other recognized blood bank, or look for nearby hospital. Third one is, but choice and the course of action. Now they have not asked course of action per se, but evaluate the options available to you, means you have to choose some options, right? You have to choose one. So you have to write about one option. So that would be basically not immediately doing it. Now detail mein you have to write what. So you are not saying that you are not doing it or doing it straight away. You will be going, the main option is going for, as I said, nearby things using a helicopter or anything. But in that, then you mention course of action mein what, how exactly you will do it. First, keep things ready. Second, look for this. And third case, if it's not happening anyway, just give the blood, because anyway she is dying. So better she will die after this blood in case if that happens. But aspects that is to be covered, because like for example, a decision is for with respect to 2 lives. Okay, going forward with transfusion may create long-term issues with woman and the child. We don't know. Some wrong blood goes into, and wrong as in not wrong per se as a blood group, but something else, because these are serious issues, right? These are just initial brief. What is the issue in front of you? So obviously your responsibility, compassion with respect to the lady, but rules is recognized bank. So rule is also one aspect. Seriousness of the having blood from not recognized this thing, the health impact of it is another issue. You being DM, you cannot break the rule also, no. You know, you yourself say that it has to be recognized blank, and you yourself be using something else. That is also one aspect, right? Because being DM, you have to show that you yourself follow the rules. You cannot say that rules are for others. Okay. Let us see next. At 9 PM on Saturday evening, Rashika, joint secretary, was still engrossed in her work in her office. Her husband Vikram is an executive in MNC and frequently out of town in connection with the work. Their 2 children aged 3 and 5 looked after by the domestic helper. At 9:30 PM, her superior Mr. Suresh calls her and asks her to prepare a detailed note on an important matter to be discussed in a meeting in the ministry. She realizes that she will have to work on Sunday to finish the additional task given by the superior. वैसे ये आप देखेंगे ऐसे ही not very, there is no stuff in the case study. In fact, कभी कभी लगता है कि somebody has just written what is happening around him. Paper setter would have seen just नाम चेंज करके उसके साइड वाले घर में या उसी के घर में ये हो रहा था, तभी लिखा है ये. आप देखेंगे आगे, there is nothing in the case study. See, it's a GS type of question. How? You will see. She reflects on how she had looked forward to the posting and had worked long hours for months to achieve this. So she has achieved this post. She is a joint secretary. She has got into this particular ministry because a lot of work. She wants to contribute to the people, but family. Typical movie type scene. Family versus wala wo hai. She had kept the welfare of the people uppermost in discharging her duties. She feels that she has not done enough justice to her family and she has not fulfilled her duties in discharging essential social obligations. Even as recently as last month, she had to leave her sick child in nanny's care as she had to work in the office. Now she feels that she must draw a line beyond which her personal life would take precedence over her professional responsibilities, and she thinks that there should be a reasonable limit to the work ethics such as punctuality, hard work, dedication to her duty and selfless service. There is no case per se, like she is feeling that बहुत ज़्यादा काम कर लिया, अभी थोड़ा फैमिली को भी देखते हैं, and she is in dilemma and stuff like that. Question is actually a GS question, that is women being asked to do both the roles and there is no individual case per se, but they have tried to put it as it is a case. Discuss the ethical issues involved. Briefly describe at least 4 laws that have been enacted by the government with respect to providing health, safe and equitable working environment for women. It has nothing to do with the case. It's just a GS question, right? Imagine you are this similar situation. What suggestion? This question itself, to be very honest, this is not well paraphrased. Imagine you are in a similar situation. Okay, similar situation as in, who am I? Like, am I that lady or a general? And if I am that lady, what suggestion would you make? To whom? Dinesh, मेरा मोबाइल देखना एक बार मिल जाएगा, उधर है क्या? So imagine you are in a similar situation. What suggestions would you make to mitigate such a working conditions? Who are you? Like you are joint secretary. If you are lady, what would you do? General answer here. You are right. That's exactly what I am saying. General answers has to be written because the question to be, this is my personal opinion, might be wrong, but it's not framed properly. Because it's not a case, it's a general study question. Because do you really think that there are two children, MN is frequently going outside, has anything to do with the answer? And she has got really something. Yes, answer is about women being expected to play both the roles. It's a pressure on them, they are not able to manage things and all that. And what are the government? This is a purely GS question. Briefly described at least 4 laws that have been enacted by the government with respect to like women and work. Proper GS question and nothing to do with case per se, as a case study. In case study, that's what I'm saying. But anyway, they have asked, who will, right? Okay. So we'll not spend too much work on this case study because, as I said, this is more like a GS question. So though we have points, okay. Ethical issues, responsibility towards work, responsibility towards family, work. So she is having guilt of being responsible to the work. She having guilt that responsible to the family. So she is having all the problems. So we have to in that way, it is an ethical issue. Otherwise, in the case, what are the ethical issues involved? Nobody has done anything wrong per se, except general society climate. Any individual is not doing anything wrong. Is Vikram doing anything wrong? Who is Vikram here? याद भी नहीं आ रहा कि कौन है विक्रम. Husband. Who is Suresh? Is Suresh wrong? No. Is Rashika wrong? Right. So only thing is these laws will be like little थोड़ा metal है कि वो maternity law है, sexual harassment और workplace law है. No need to write 2013 GS का question नहीं है. No need. Only thing is if you write this much and explain a little bit, that's enough. No need to write exactly 1976 है 67 है, कोई जरूरत नहीं है. It's not a GS. They are not asking for studies. This is basically GS. Work culture indifferent to women's additional responsibility. Normally, like why Suresh is saying that no, आप इतने बजे आओ, उतने बजे जाओ. Perhaps he is not sensitive towards her role, but sitting at that position of, like for example, SP, DM, joint secretary, you cannot say, even if you are a woman or a man, मेरे बच्चे हैं, because it's not a job, it's a responsibility. Yes or no? Something has to be done with respect to it, but at that senior level, what can be done? Have you ever said any IAS officer saying that नहीं मैं काम पे नहीं आऊंगी क्योंकि मेरा बच्चा है? नहीं. Because you will get all the help from the government, helpers, all the doctors, everything. You have to work. Because government service is actually not a job. You know this? It's a responsibility. It's like you have been asked by the society, okay, you are very capable, you are very capable. All of your family issues we'll take care. No need to take any insurance, everything. Ghar, gaadi, health, dependents, mother, father, husband, wife, but we'll take care. There is KV, Kendriya Vidyalaya, there is hospital, everything. You just have to work for us. That's what government service is. It's not a job. And government service is a 24-hour job. Can you say, being a DM, 6 बजे के बाद call क्यों किया? Would you say that? Please don't call me after 6. Can you say that in a private company? Yes, you can. If you are in Hyderabad or Bangalore. Yes, that dilemma is there. But that's the thing. Now, how you write it. Can you say, being a DM, beyond 6 o'clock, I am mother, I am not a DM? You cannot. Because that is the expectation of this particular field called, or job called IAS, IPS or whatever. That's what the dilemma is. So, but these acts are there. Maternity benefits anyway you get. But still, what you can write here additionally is, it is also additional responsibility, because government servants are not just employees. They are, because see, that joint secretary spending extra Sunday is going to benefit 10,000 women sitting in the rural areas directly. Like they might be drafting some policy, they might be working on women reservation bill जो अभी आना है. What would you do? Can you say मेरे बच्चे हैं? You are going to change the fate of 70 crore women of India. So that perspective has to has to come, but like in the answer also, in especially when it comes to the ethical issues, discussion, dilemma. But yes, gender sensitive approach need to be there. More presence of women in public life, जो हमने पहले भी बात किया, should be there. Enhancing the sense of responsibility of men, of men in family. So with respect to family, men should have a more responsible behavior. Yeah, that can be. This point, suggestions to mitigate, I didn't understand yet. Suggestion as whom? Like this is not a GS question. So as a case, who am I to give suggestion to whom? But in general suggestion देना है, फिर क्या कर सकते हैं? Like GS, right? Yes. Yes, there is a labor law already, no? Like here, Factories Act, Equal Remuneration Act. Yeah. Government, it's not possible, because government, you know this, there is this CCS conduct rules. You have to sign when you join as IAS IPS officer. There you cannot say that I am only 8 hours employee. You already sign that I am a 24-hour employee, servant of the government. No, all officers, all. If I am leaving my location, being audit and account service officer, I had to inform my boss that I am leaving this place, I am leaving Shillong for some other work. Just leaving on Saturday, Sunday. Because he should know that you are not around in case tomorrow something comes. This is a law. If I leave like that, this happened with a person who was in IAS, he left and something happened in his district and he had not given station leave because he thought, okay, I'll give it later. He was suspended because some riot happened or something and he was not there. He had come to his village, his hometown, with permission, but oral permission. Because in government you are 24/7 employee. Okay. So as I said, this is just a GS1. So this is the last case study for my lecture. Let us see. Oh, let's finish this and decide. Okay. You have just been appointed as additional Director General of a CPWD. Okay, Central Public Works Department, CPWD. The chief architect of your division, who is to retire in 6 months, is passionately working on every important project and successful completion of which would earn him a lasting reputation for the rest of the life. So he is a very like good person working for going to be retired. A new lady architect, Seema, trained at Manchester School of Architecture UK, joined the senior architect in your division. During the briefing about the project, Seema made some suggestions which would not only add value to the project but would also reduce completion time. So that is okay. This has made the chief architect insecure and he is constantly worried that all the credit will go to her tomorrow. Subsequently, he adopted a passive and aggressive behavior towards her and has become disrespectful to her. Seema felt it embarrassing as the aggressive behavior towards her and has become disrespectful to her. Okay, Seema felt it embarrassing as the chief architect left no chance of humiliating her. He would very often correct her in front of other colleagues and raise his voice while speaking to her. This continuous harassment has resulted in her losing confidence and self-esteem. She felt perpetually tensed and anxious and stressed. She appeared to be in awe of him since he has had a long tenure in the office and has vast experience in the area of her work. That's okay. Now, you are aware of her outstanding academic credentials, career record in her previous organizations. However, you fear that this harassment may result in compromising her much needed contribution in this important project and may adversely impact her emotional well-being. You have also come to know from her peers that she is contemplating tendering her resignation. Scene पता चल गया क्या है? What's the scene? Senior है, about to retire है, highly performing है. Some newcomer joins. She suggests some corrections. Seems to be really working, really apt suggestions. But because of intelligence of the newcomer lady, Seema, he is worried that now everybody will think that the project is up to the mark because of her, and he is insecure, and he is insecure because he is going to retire anyway. So he want to get that name that this XYZ project was completed by Mr. Chief Architect, and then when he retire, he want to kind of wear that badge of honor on his shoulder. As a result, because she is showing her talent, he is getting agitated, and for that matter, he is getting insecure and aggressive, kind of trying to pull her down all the time, kind of marking her, some things like that. Situation you are able to imagine. As a result, she is very talented, good past record, everything, but now she is disappointed. She is not feeling good about it, and she is even thinking of resigning. So what are the issues in front of you? Now you are boss of everybody, right? Director General hai. So Chief Architect is your junior, and the newcomer is anyway your junior. What would you do? What are the issue in front of us? No, that it's not harassment. Yes, it is, but that's another issue. We are also knowing that why he is doing it. So one is, okay, she is facing problem. Has she complained to you about harassment? No. When complaint comes, it's harassment per se. It's not seen in front of you. It's like a typical official situation. Now when you say harassment at workplace, you are talking about sexual harassment at workplace. That is not happening here. And she is not complained to you that I am being harassed. It's a professional issue. Like, you know, just imagine, instead of Seema, if there was Sachin, then would you have thought of harassment? And isn't it interesting, instead of Seema I said Sachin. Hope some of you understand the joke. Oh, okay. But it wasn't deliberate, it just happened. So point is, number one, your responsibility is to console and retain Seema. She should not resign, and not just that, she should keep performing best of her abilities. So she should get most encouraging environment, she should get better training and facilitation, number one. Number two, this chief architect also need to be feeling better about his position, not feeling insecure. So his insecurity is your issue. He personally is not a bad person. His insecurity has to be removed. Number third, the bonding, the relationship between the two had to be improved. Right? That's the problem again. Another thing, the newcomer and the old seniors debate or the dilemma or the conflict has to be reduced to the extent possible. So the point is, overall work culture has to be maintained in such a way that, and by the way, work needs to be completed on time. This issue should not hamper the work. That is also your responsibility. It should not just get on time, it should be with the same quality. Right? So these are your responsibilities. Accordingly, what are the ethical issues involved? What are the options available to you in order to complete the project? Obviously. and retain CMA. Obviously, what would be your response to CMA's predicament? What measures would you institute to prevent such occurrences from happening in your organization? So basically what is being asked? All the questions that is possible in the case studies they have asked, right? What would you do? What are the ethical issues? Yes. What are the situations? See, facts, whatever is the situation in front of you, the junior, senior, whatever is written, just briefly you have to write. And every decision that you take, because you are a senior, every decision that you take, yes, should impact positively the senior chief architect, CMA and the work completion. Right? Roles and responsibilities, stakeholders हो गया. Ethical issues क्या है? Sense of insecurity in a senior high performing employee or chief architect for that matter. That is unethical or ethical issue, as in he should not be actually thinking in that way. Why? He is anyway going to be retired, so he is so senior. Why should he be insecure about somebody giving suggestions? So it is emotionally not intelligent on his part to be insecure. Something happens, why he has to, because insecurity is an emotional reaction, right? So why he has to be insecure about it? Lack of encouragement to the talented newcomer, that is also happening. That is our responsibility. CMA is feeling not encouraged. So work culture is our responsibility. Yes, you. Yes, emotional intelligence, but emotional intelligence also on the part of performing employee, also on the part of CMA to some extent. Because उसने ऐसा कुछ किया ही नहीं ना, he just, and there is a difference, right? Anyway, he is going to retire from 6. But yes, there is the word harassment used by case study also. So little bit seriousness is there in what is being happening. CMA is not just blowing it out of the proportion. What she is saying makes sense to some extent. Irresponsible behavior of the senior employee towards newcomer. What are options? Punish the behavior of the senior cabinet chief architect. तो थोड़ा हार्श हो जाएगा. Punishment. Options available proper, right? They are asked. What are the options available to you? Right? Lack of encouragement to the talented newcomer. Sorry. Restrict CMA from making any gesture which might be disrespectful to the chief. Basically restrict CMA only, because she also did something, publicly correcting the chief architect, which he is feeling insecure about, right? That's what happened every time she is correcting him types. Bring both together to remove the misunderstanding. So obviously we'll take the third. There are see, these are just way of writing. You can write like different wordings. Mota what you have to do, either you punish him or restrict her or bring them together. And obviously bring them together is your option, because then better work culture, better environment, then sense of recognition and appreciation towards senior. Because what happens then, though some aspect CMA would be having better understanding, but as far as the experience is concerned, he would be much experienced than CMA, chief architect. So why not to have some knowledge transfer arrangement programs between them and others, junior senior knowledge transfer training programs, which can improve the bonding between the two. Because see, what you want ultimately, yes, ultimately it's about good work culture, and he also should be happy feeling about, and that much he also his expectation that being senior is not unreasonable, isn't it? It's reasonable for him to say that, okay, I should be respected and stuff like that. She should be encouraged, that expectation is also reasonable. So both has to be. Now how to make a situation where his expectations and her expectations are win-win, not conflicting. So how? because if you both bring together not just these two, others, juniors, seniors, dialogue, bonding between the two. So what happens, automatically junior appreciates the experience of the senior and senior appreciates the energy of the junior, innovation of the junior. This happens most of the places. See, the general conflict between the junior and senior is always this, that junior thinks that innovation, smart, energy is more important. Experience ka kya karna hai? Seniors will always say that this energy and everything is okay, but experience has its own importance. But ultimately, what's the reality? Both are important and both are not conflicting. They are complementary, supplementary to each other. So bring that back through the discussion, training programs, bonding programs, in a way, convergence of goals between the two, like what she is expecting in her life and what he is, like completion of the program is good for both. He because he is going to retire, and she because her future will be dependent on successful completion. She also would have some credit, right? And credit is not credit is not shared. If credit is not some cake where if you share something to other, only remaining will be shared to the other. If the work, like for example, if Team India wins, whose credit? Everybody will be credited like that. Whole team, even if Ashish Nehra comes to some program, he will be treated as if he is a member of World Cup winning team, not just Dhoni. So this is a very interesting thing. Credit is not something to be cut and shared. Credit is shared by everybody. So let that also sink into the chief architect. Yes, we can write here, but just to prove the point that credit, we have to make sure, we have to make the chief, especially chief architect, the senior, to understand that credit is not something that you share, it decreases after the sharing. It's like, credit is like happiness. If you share, it will increase, or it will be shared equally among everyone. And then what happens? The insecurity in the mind of chief architect will be reduced drastically. And that is the important, the only why things is happening, the insecurity in the mind of chief architect. And obviously the more encourative, more inspiring environment for the sense of gratitude is also will be generated if Seema is made aware of the knowledge, depth and experience of the chief architect. Ye bhi important. You're getting this point. If this happens generally also in offices, this happens with us, like if I joined, I feel that I will change the world. ये पुराने लोगों को कुछ पता नहीं है, ऐसा होता है. But if you listen to them, they have 1,000 stories to tell you, and they're like, then you realize that there will be automatically a sense of gratitude in your mind about them. And then you realize, no, they have really done stuff before. So automatically there will be convergence of goals. Yes, but during that time, the antithetical or negative direction of thinking should be avoided. Convergence thinking should be promoted. That I like, these things, and that's your responsibility to have a better work culture. That much we have to do, and we can do, right? Okay. So that's all from my side. These any questions if you ask, anyway, obviously if you have, you can ask. So this was around 70% of the question paper, 60-70% of the question paper. 4 case studies, so 2 are remaining, 2 case studies and some questions, theory questions. So what do you think, should we continue now, or should I ask Abhishek sir to do it tomorrow? Democracy. Okay. So I think because it will be better if he does it tomorrow or whenever, because it will become, yeah, because that's the topics that he will be covering would be part of administrative governance part. Okay. So and 2 case studies that are relevant to it, so he will be able to, will communicate to you. How did you come to know about this? Which channel? General LevelUp IAS channels. Okay. Okay, how do you come to know? GS Foundation. So in GS Foundation they had declared. पता ही था कि GS4 भी होने वाला है. Everybody knows in the GS Foundation. Okay, okay. So most likely it will be, I'll just confirm, and you will get the on the same platform, then you will get the information for the next. May mostly tomorrow, 99% tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very much.